Look around you. The world moves, people laugh, voices intertwine in the rhythm of companionship. Yet, somewhere in the quiet corners of existence, there walks a man unseen, unheard, untouched by the warmth of human closeness. Not because he is weak, but because the path he walks is his alone. Solitude is a forge in which the strongest souls are tempered. It is a crucible where the mind is stripped of distractions, where the heart is tested, and where character is refined. Many fear solitude because they mistake it for emptiness, but those who have walked its path understand that it is a place of immense power. When a man is alone, he is left with nothing but his thoughts, and in those moments he begins to see the world for what it truly is. He no longer relies on the comfort of others to validate his existence. Instead, he becomes his own source of strength. It is in solitude that one learns to endure, to stand firm against the tides of life, and to find meaning in one's own presence. The world may see him as isolated, but in truth he is more connected to reality than those lost in the noise of society. He understands pain, but he does not fear it. He knows the weight of silence, but he does not shrink from it. He has faced the void and emerged from it stronger, unshaken, and more certain of himself than ever before. A man who walks alone walks with purpose. He does not wander aimlessly, seeking the approval of others or the temporary comfort of fleeting friendships. Instead, he walks with the knowledge that every step he takes is one of self-reliance. When a man embraces solitude, he begins to develop a clarity that is impossible to attain when surrounded by constant chatter. He is forced to confront his weaknesses, to acknowledge his fears, and to understand his desires. Without the influence of others, he learns what truly matters to him, not what is imposed upon him by society. This self-awareness becomes his greatest weapon. The world is filled with men who rely on the opinions of others to shape their identity, but the man forged in solitude is different. He does not flinch at criticism, nor does he seek validation. His mind is sharp, his will unbreakable, and his purpose clear. He becomes a force that cannot be swayed by external forces, for he has already conquered the greatest battle, the one within himself. It is in solitude that a man learns patience. In a world that moves at an uncontrollable pace, where distractions are endless and desires are fueled by external validation, the man who embraces solitude learns the art of waiting. He understands that everything worthwhile is built over time, that mastery is not achieved overnight, and that true growth requires endurance. In the quiet moments, he hones his skills, sharpens his intellect, and strengthens his resolve. He does not seek immediate gratification, nor does he fall victim to the illusions of instant success. He knows that true excellence is cultivated in the long, lonely hours of practice and introspection. This patience gives him an advantage over those who cannot bear to be alone. While they chase temporary pleasures and validation, he builds himself into something greater. He is not rushed by the world's demands, nor is he swayed by the urgency of others. He moves at his own pace, steady and deliberate, knowing that true strength is not found in haste, but in discipline and endurance. A man forged in solitude is not easily broken. Hardship does not deter him, nor does adversity shake his foundation. He has already endured the greatest trial, himself. When others seek comfort in the arms of society, he faces his struggles head-on. He does not run from pain, he embraces it, knowing that it is through suffering that one grows stronger. He does not complain about his burdens, for he has learned that complaining changes nothing. Instead, he endures, knowing that every challenge is an opportunity to become better. The world is full of men who crumble at the first sign of hardship, who seek escape rather than confrontation. But the man who has walked alone has already prepared himself for the inevitable trials of life. He does not seek pity, nor does he expect rescue. He is his own savior, his own warrior, his own protector. The world may try to break him, but it will fail, for he has already been tempered in the fire of solitude. Through solitude, a man learns the value of self-sufficiency. He understands that true freedom does not come from wealth, status, or external validation, but from the ability to rely solely on oneself. He does not need constant reassurance, nor does he seek guidance at every turn. He trusts his own judgment, makes his own decisions, and accepts the consequences with unwavering resolve. In a world where dependence is encouraged, where men are told they must lean on others to survive, he chooses a different path. He does not reject companionship, but he does not rely on it. If all were to abandon him, he would remain steadfast, for he has never needed anyone to define him. His strength is not borrowed, it is his own. His confidence is not built on the words of others, it is forged from his own understanding of himself. This self-sufficiency makes him dangerous to those who wish to control him, for he cannot be manipulated, swayed, or broken. He stands as an immovable force, untethered from the expectations of the world. A man who has embraced solitude finds clarity. Without the noise of the world clouding his thoughts, he sees life as it truly is. He does not chase illusions, nor does he fall prey to the distractions that consume weaker minds. He understands that most men live in fear. Fear of being alone, fear of being misunderstood, fear of not being enough. But he does not share these fears. He has faced them, conquered them, and left them behind. His mind is free, unburdened by the trivial concerns that plague others. This clarity allows him to move through life with purpose, undistracted and unwavering. He does not waste time on meaningless pursuits, nor does he entertain the superficial games that others play. He walks a straight path, focused and determined, for he has no need for the illusions that comfort weaker souls. The world may not understand him, but he does not seek understanding. He does not need approval, for he has already approved of himself. It is only through solitude that a man discovers who he truly is. Stripped of all distractions, he is left to confront himself in his rawest form. There are no masks to wear, no roles to play, no expectations to fulfill. In this confrontation, he finds truth. He learns his weaknesses, his strengths, his fears, and his desires. He does not hide from them, nor does he seek to escape. Instead, he accepts himself fully, without illusion or denial. This acceptance grants him a power that few possess, the power of true self-awareness. When a man knows himself completely, nothing can shake him, no insult can wound him, no failure can define him, no loss can break him. He moves through life with an unshakable foundation, unafraid and unapologetic. The world may try to mold him, but it will fail, for he has already been forged in the fires of solitude. He is not a product of his environment, he is a creation of his own will. A man who is self-sufficient possesses a power that few understand. In a world where dependence is encouraged, where people are conditioned to seek approval, guidance, and validation, the man who stands alone is a rare force. He does not wait for others to provide for him, nor does he rely on external circumstances to shape his life. He understands that everything he needs is already within him, and this realization sets him apart. When a man is self-sufficient, he becomes immune to manipulation. He does not bend under pressure, nor does he seek comfort in the fleeting security of others. He trusts his own instincts, builds his own path, and faces life with an unwavering mind. The world may attempt to impose its expectations upon him, but he remains unmoved. He does not follow the crowd, nor does he seek refuge in conformity. He walks his own road, knowing that true strength comes from the ability to stand alone. Society teaches men to depend, to seek validation, to wait for approval, to lean on the systems in place. But the self-sufficient man rejects this conditioning. He does not need the world to tell him who he is. He already knows. Self-sufficiency is the foundation of true freedom. A man who cannot provide for himself is a man who is owned by those who do. When a person relies on others for survival, whether financially, emotionally, or intellectually, he is bound by invisible chains. He must submit to the will of those who sustain him, obey their demands and conform to their expectations. But the man who is self-sufficient is free. He answers to no one, for he has made himself independent in every way. He does not seek handouts, nor does he expect rescue when hardship arrives. He prepares, he builds, he endures. He does not blame the world for his circumstances, nor does he expect others to lift him when he falls. He rises on his own, fueled by his own determination. This kind of power is rare because it requires sacrifice. It demands discipline, resilience, and a willingness to face life without a safety net. But for the man who achieves it, there is no greater strength. He walks through the world unburdened, untouched by fear, because he knows he needs nothing beyond what he can create for himself. A self-sufficient man does not seek validation. He does not need the approval of society to know his worth. While others look outward, measuring their value by the opinions of others, he looks inward. He is not swayed by praise, nor is he broken by criticism. He understands that both are temporary, illusions crafted by those who do not know him. His confidence does not come from external recognition. It is built from his own achievements, his own failures, and his own lessons. When a man becomes self-sufficient, he stops seeking permission to exist. He does not wait for the world to tell him what he is capable of. He proves it through action. This independence makes him dangerous to those who rely on control. A man who does not need approval cannot be manipulated. A man who does not need guidance cannot be led astray. He moves forward with purpose, guided only by his own principles, unshaken by the expectations of others. Society fears such a man because he cannot be controlled. He does not fall in line, he does not beg for acceptance, and he does not conform. He simply is. The self-sufficient man understands that pain and struggle are inevitable, but he does not fear them. Unlike those who seek shelter in the arms of others, he embraces hardship as a necessary test. He does not complain about adversity, nor does he seek sympathy. He understands that every challenge is an opportunity to grow stronger, to refine his abilities, and to sharpen his mind. He does not expect life to be easy, nor does he believe in shortcuts. He works, he endures, he learns. He does not waste time wishing for an easier path. He simply walks the one in front of him, knowing that his strength comes from his ability to persist. When others crumble under the weight of struggle, he remains standing. He does not ask for help unless it is absolutely necessary, and even then he does so with the understanding that he alone is responsible for his fate. This mindset separates him from the weak. Where others see obstacles, he sees lessons. Where others see hardship, he sees opportunity. He does not need life to be fair. He only needs the strength to keep moving forward. A man who is truly self-sufficient does not fear solitude. He does not seek company for the sake of avoiding loneliness, nor does he surround himself with people to fill an internal void. He understands that being alone does not mean being weak. In fact, it is in solitude that he finds his greatest strength. When a man is alone, he is free from distractions, free from external influences, free from the noise of the world. He has time to think, to reflect, to refine his understanding of himself and his purpose. He does not need constant reassurance or companionship to feel whole. He has built himself into a man who is complete on his own. This does not mean he rejects the presence of others, but rather that he does not depend on them for his identity or his happiness. If all were to leave him, he would remain the same. His sense of self is not tied to the presence of others. It is built upon a foundation that no one can shake. This level of independence makes him unbreakable. He does not chase relationships out of desperation, nor does he fear their loss. He remains steady, regardless of who stays or who leaves. A self-sufficient man understands the value of control, not over others, but over himself. He does not allow emotions to dictate his actions, nor does he let circumstances define his mindset. He is the master of his own will. While others react impulsively, swayed by emotions and external forces, he remains composed. He has trained himself to be disciplined, to act with intention rather than impulse. He understands that power is not found in dominance over others, but in complete control over one's own mind. When a man has mastery over himself, he is unstoppable. He does not need to prove his strength through displays of aggression or dominance. His presence alone commands respect. He is calm under pressure, unmoved by chaos, and unwavering in his decisions. This control allows him to navigate life with precision, never being pulled in directions he does not choose. He does not act out of desperation, nor does he make choices based on fleeting emotions. He moves with purpose, driven by logic and wisdom. This ability to control oneself is what separates the strong from the weak. It is the foundation of true power, and only the self-sufficient man possesses it. Loneliness is often seen as a curse, a burden that weighs heavily on those who bear it. But for the man who understands its true nature, loneliness is not a prison, it is freedom. In solitude, a man is untethered from the expectations of others. He is no longer bound by the need to please, to conform, or to seek approval. He moves through life on his own terms, unrestricted by the opinions and judgments that dictate the actions of so many. While others cling to companionship out of fear, he embraces the quiet, knowing that true strength is found in self-reliance. He does not depend on others to give him purpose, nor does he need constant validation to feel whole. He is complete within himself, and this completeness grants him a level of power that few will ever attain. Society teaches men that they must belong, that they must surround themselves with people to be happy. But happiness built on dependency is fragile. The man who finds peace in loneliness is free from this weakness. He does not chase the illusion of connection. He stands firm in his own presence, knowing that his worth is not defined by the company he keeps. A lonely man has no obligations beyond those he chooses for himself. He owes nothing to anyone, nor does he expect anything in return. He is not burdened by the weight of relationships that demand his time, energy, or emotions. He moves as he pleases, makes decisions without compromise, and follows his own path without interference. The world tries to convince him that he is missing something, that his solitude is a void that must be filled, but he knows better. He has seen the way men become trapped in the expectations of others, how they sacrifice their dreams and desires to maintain connections that serve no purpose. He refuses to be another prisoner of social obligation. His loneliness is not suffering, it is liberation. It is the ability to walk away without hesitation, to detach from anything that no longer serves him, to live without the constant noise of external influence. He does not seek approval, nor does he fear judgment. He acts according to his own principles, unmoved by the shifting tides of opinion. In his loneliness, he is truly free. The man who embraces loneliness is free from the emotional chains that bind most people. He does not live in fear of being abandoned, because he has already made peace with solitude. He does not suffer from the anxiety of needing to be liked, because he does not depend on others for his happiness. He is not afraid of silence, for he has learned to listen to his own thoughts. He does not require distractions to fill his time, nor does he seek out shallow connections just to avoid being alone. He has turned inward, discovering a depth within himself that most will never explore. His emotions do not control him, because he has mastered them. He does not need the comfort of others to feel secure. His confidence comes from within. He does not seek out relationships out of desperation, nor does he compromise his values just to maintain them. He is his own anchor, his own source of stability. The world may see him as alone, but he is not lonely in the way they imagine. He is free from the emotional dependencies that weaken most men, and in that freedom he finds true peace. Loneliness allows a man to move through life without restriction. He is not tied to any one place, person, or obligation. He can disappear when he chooses, change his course without explanation, and live without the weight of expectations. While others are bound by commitments that drain them, he remains untethered. He does not ask for permission, nor does he wait for approval. He acts according to his own will, pursuing what he desires without hesitation. He does not waste time maintaining relationships that serve no purpose, nor does he engage in meaningless social rituals to avoid being alone. His time is his own, and he spends it as he pleases. The world tries to convince him that he must belong, that he must integrate, that he must surround himself with others to feel whole, but he sees through the illusion. He has watched as men sacrifice their dreams for relationships that offer nothing in return, as they trade their freedom for the fleeting comfort of companionship. He refuses to make the same mistake. His loneliness is not a weakness, it is his greatest strength. A man who has accepted loneliness is not controlled by the fears that govern most people. He does not fear rejection, because he does not seek acceptance. He does not fear loss, because he has nothing to lose. He does not fear betrayal, because he trusts no one but himself. He has stripped away the illusions that keep others bound, seeing the world for what it truly is. He understands that most relationships are built on convenience, not loyalty. That most people stay in each other's lives not because of genuine connection, but because they fear being alone. He has transcended this fear. He does not hold on to people out of desperation, nor does he seek companionship just to fill the silence. He embraces the solitude, knowing that it is in loneliness that a man discovers his true self. He does not measure his worth by the number of people around him, nor does he feel diminished by their absence. His value is inherent, and no amount of social validation or rejection can change that. The world may see him as isolated, but he knows the truth. He is free. The lonely man is free from obligation, free from expectation, free from the need to explain himself. He does not justify his choices, nor does he ask for understanding. He moves through life on his own terms, unrestricted by the burdens that others willingly carry. He does not waste energy on relationships that drain him, nor does he engage in meaningless interactions just to feel connected. His loneliness is not emptiness. It is clarity. It allows him to see what truly matters, to focus on what is important without distraction. He does not compromise himself for the sake of fitting in, nor does he adjust his values to be more acceptable to others. He is unapologetically himself, unshaken by the opinions of the world. While others seek connection out of fear, he remains content in his solitude. He has found something far more valuable than companionship. He has found freedom, and in that freedom, he has found peace. Loneliness is not a curse, it is the ultimate form of freedom. The man who embraces solitude is untouchable, unmoved by judgment, unchained by expectation, and unshaken by loss. He does not seek approval, nor does he fear rejection. He walks his own path, guided only by his own will, free from the illusions that bind weaker souls. In his loneliness he finds clarity. In his solitude he finds strength. He is not alone, he is free. May God bless you. Thank you.